Welcome to Monkey Fab.
Have warped some stuff to beyond recognition. Oh, do you have this? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. Well, do you have it? Like, do you have it? Have it? Yeah, like literally, it's in my car. How close you want to get?
Yeah.
You want to get real close? That's uncomfortable. You can actually weld stainless to mild steel. Like, we run into our own problems, right? And then we're like, well, how can we make this better? You know, because if it happened to us, surely it's happened to at least one other person. You know.
We're here at Monkey Fab, obviously. We're not in the little two-car garage. And I wanted to kind of do a good video because I'm friends with Jacob. And whenever we did the road trip where we did the 337 speed collaboration, the night before, I parked my car and my headers hang low, and I absolutely destroyed and crunched a V-band clamp. And Jacob was able to he had them in stock. And he basically said, look, you come pick them up. You can have them. They're right here. It was just, it's awesome. Because that's also something that says about Monkey Fab is if they have it listed, they have it in stock. And very rarely, if not at all, I've never seen them out of stock of things when it comes to wiring, AN lines, and turbo fittings, or piping and components that help make a turbo system for any of your cars, whether it's LS, it's Coyote, it's 2JZ, Hondas, just about anything. They kind of service everybody. So we're here at Monkey Fab, and we're gonna have a nice, cool little walk around because looking at this place, like, I know you can't see it yet, but there's boxes and boxes of PTFE hose from which size you could possibly dream of, even as, you know, real tiny to large, I think like 1.25 inch radiator hosing, but we're gonna get into it. He has spools on spools of all the different wiring. He has really cool sub harnesses that he has that will plug in for your Holly stuff. And we're gonna just get into all of the fittings and components that he has available. And hopefully you guys can see whenever you go to look on the website of what you're ordering, you get to see a little bit behind the scenes of how ready this guy is to service the community in the sense for wiring, plumbing, turbo stuff. So, and not to mention, this is a pretty nice shop. We've got the big fans. He's got air conditioning. It's nice and comfortable in here. We'll get on into it. Everyone, this is Jacob, my good friend. He's a monkey.
I'm not a monkey. I'm not a monkey.
He's one of the monkeys.
One of the monkeys. There's three of us. We got Mike, who was the original guy, and then myself, and then Hector. Nobody will probably ever know him. He's the guy in the back end that does all the stuff that smart people do.
Everybody's important, though.
Yeah.
So, you guys, because I think I talked to Hector a bit on email. That was the design guy you were talking about?
He's the engineer guy, yeah. So all of our turbo flanges, our reducer flanges, all of like the VS Racing adapter flanges and stuff, the Easy Fab rings. He designs all of the stuff. So that's the smart guy.
And then Mike, we see Mike welding all the time.
Yep, that's the Fab guy.
That's the Fab guy. And then you're the electrical guy.
Something like that. I'm everything else.
You're the everything else?
I'm
Okay,
everything
good.
Else. All the day-to-day operations. I always did the inventory and stuff. Now we kind of passed that along to Hector. But yeah, I'm just the everything else.
With public perspective, I see you're the one that's always messing with the wirings, the connectors and stuff. But that's good. You know, you got everything. Somebody's got to do everything else.
Yeah, that's a big hat. You know, small company, you can't have one hat. You have a small company, you got to have people that wear all the hats all the time. Nobody's got a designated job, unfortunately.
Be lean and mean.
Yeah, one day.
One day. So right off the bat, when you go look at the website, there's just tons of listings of AN lines, plumbing stuff. So looking into that, what sizes and variations for hose sizes and fittings that you offer?
We have a wide variety of everything. So from number 4 all the way up to number 20 in standard braided. PTFE is number 4 up to 12. And then fitting variations are straights, 45s, 90s, 120s, and 180s. Here pretty soon, a lot of people aren't aware of the ORB hose ends. So a lot of the higher end builds, people like to use ORB hose ends because obviously the fewer connections you have, the less leak paths. So that's something that we're going to start carrying and trying to start pushing because most people just don't know. Like, you know, you hook up a fuel pump, external fuel pump, and you have your AN to ORB, you screw into the fuel pump, and then your hose end onto that fitting. Well, you can just alleviate that whole AN to ORB adapter and just put an ORB hose in directly into your fuel pump, and now you have one less connection.
One less possible leak point.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know. I mean, they're out there and people do know, but I don't think the mass people, I don't think it's common knowledge. As far as like V-bands, we got V-bands from 2-inch all the way up to 5-inch. Billet turbo flanges in T4 and T6, both divided and undivided. Fabricated. I mean, there's pretty much anything you want.
And different materials, like you have just
stainless and mild for the fabricated flanges, and then all of the machine flanges are only in stainless.
Gotcha. Okay, so you have options.
Yeah.
And then also piping to go with it.
We don't have the tube yet. As you can see, we just moved into a bigger place, so that's something that we've always been wanting to do, but we've been limited by space. So bends take up a lot of room.
To be coming soon.
Yeah, that's definitely on the agenda for next year. We're going to add that. So hopefully by mid 2025 we'll have tubing and bends.
So you have the flanges, not yet tubing. I saw you had turbos on the website as well. So you're selling the VS turbos?
Yeah, so we actually supply VS Racing for all their lines and fittings. So if someone buys a VS Racing turbo kit and they get the drain line and the feed line and the fittings and stuff, that came from us anyway. So we've been working with Varen for a long time, and we don't stock any of the turbos in here because it's just not cost effective. We don't sell enough to do that, but we do have a lot of their turbos listed on our website, and he'll drop ship them. He's in Dallas, so he's 3 hours away, and generally speaking, we can beat anybody's price on those.
For couplers, right?
Yeah, silicone couplers, the margins are just not there, and it takes up a tremendous amount of space, as you can see, but it's convenience. The more you have, the more convenient it is for the customer. So we try to meet that if possible.
Because people like buying the whole package if possible from one spot.
Yep.
Yeah. So AN stuff, the plumbing stuff, we've got the turbo things that we covered. So now you have electrical offerings.
Yep.
And I remember seeing on your YouTube channel, you have like which if you want to know how to wire some of these things and the connectors and things like that, they have all the tutorials you could possibly dream of how to put these things together. But so all the electrical offerings you got, because right now you guys don't see it, but there's a bunch of spools of wires behind it, and I know upstairs they have a bunch of connectors. So can you cover what do you have for the electrical side of things?
So TXL is the general automotive standard for Ford, Chrysler, and Dodge in factory spec wire. So we carry a full line of that, 14 different colors in 20 gauge, 18 and 16 gauge. And then we have red and black in 14, 12, and 10, and then some green and white in the larger ones too. Striped wire, so currently we have striped wire, every color striped wire that Holley has on their systems, we have in the same gauges and stuff. We just ordered all of the Coyote connectors. So nobody knows that yet, but all the Coyote engine connectors, we'll have those soon. We currently have all of the LS connectors, so and injectors and all that. But then your universal stuff like the Deutsch connectors, the DTMs, which are the smallest, those are 11 amps per pin. You got the DT, which is I think 17 amps per pin, and then you got the DTP, which is the larger ones, and those are 22 amps per pin. And then Weather Pack and Super Seal and all that kind of stuff as well. So hopefully, we just got Testful 3-conductor shielded cable. Really nice stuff. I want to get into the more higher end electrical stuff, but being that we've only been in the electrical stuff for about 2 years, I didn't feel like we should start off with, the high expensive stuff. But yeah, there's tutorials on which crimpers to use, because that's always a mystery, like which crimper to use for what pins. how to unpin the stuff. That is, I can't tell you how many times I have ripped wires out of pins because I didn't know how to get them unpinned, and then I just end up cutting it off and buying a new one, but
Yeah.
that's the magic part,
I've been there before. So I actually messed up one of the connectors on an injector on the engine. And so I'm like, I got to repin this connector.
You have the EV6 injectors on this,
I
right?
believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you just I had a D-pin little kit, and I'm just trying to sit there to like.
But you've never seen that pin not in a connector,
right.
so you don't know where the magic's at.
Right. So
Yeah, if you get the pen and you look at the pen, you can see the magic. So now but you're just poking in the dark,
correct.
Yeah.
So
it's stressful.
that was one of those moments where I did pull up a video to see, because it's that way it kind of removes the mystery. You're not just ruining a connector, and you gotta bubble gum it back together. So.
Yep.
All right, so here we got some wiring inventory, I guess, right here. They're different colors.
Yeah, we purchased this in bulk, and then we rolled off 25-foot rolls, and that's generally how we sell it. And then we had a lot of people start asking, like, "Hey, can you sell me 100-foot?" Or people would literally buy 4 or 5 25-foot rolls. So
Whole spools.
we started doing the 100-foot spools. So we don't currently have in all the colors. Like I said, we were kind of limited on space, but I'm gonna get more wire, so we'll have 14 colors in 3 different gauges on 100-foot spools for those people with the larger projects. But yeah, so that's why we have so much. So those are 3,000-foot spools. These over here, those are 1,000-foot spools, and these were 5,000-foot spools. So we just sit over here and roll it out. This is my pulley right here. This is how cheap we are. So I bought that off of Amazon, and I got my cable spooler over there. So
that's right. Yeah.
Where that cable spooler is to this pulley is 25 foot. So I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I roll it up on a 3.5-inch piece of aluminum pipe, and I put it in a bag and stick a label on it.
That's awesome.
So I wish I could say I got paid a lot of money, but that pay dictates that skill set of job.
So over here, and then we have. So this is a workbench. I know, like, guys, be
Yes, it's a
easy.
functioning workbench.
It's a functioning workbench,
This is legit.
and you have all these different spools. So, like we mentioned earlier, if you just go get AutoZone wire for your speakers and stuff, that's not exactly the same thing as what your Holley, engine harness is going to be comprised of, right?
Yeah, this is the TXL wire. That's what I use. I do wiring projects on the side, like that's what that orange card is. And this is what is in 90% of your cars, right? This here is actually testful wire. So this is military grade spec, aircraft spec wire. And this is obviously substantially more expensive than that. So for 90% of people's use, the TXL is going to be fine. That's the reason why General Motors and Ford and all that use it. And for those people that are building high-end stuff, then they'll switch over to testful. But with that comes the tooling. So the tooling differences are drastic because to put like the Deutsch connectors on for $150, you can buy a decent crimper, whereas if you're putting on this kind of stuff, you need there it is. So this is $400, and then you got to buy these positioners, and they're like $60 a pop, $50-$60 a pop. So there's levels to it. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is my personal workstation for my projects and whatnot. Over here these are fabrication components. These are laser cut and plasma cut stubs. So this is for a wastegate, this is for a 3-inch tube. So the cope is for a 3-inch tube, and it just snaps on there. It keeps you from having to grind
it away and shape it yourself. Yeah.
And people that are, it's time, right? So you got to consider the time you're spending and how much that's cost you. So this saves people a tremendous amount of time.
Right, because you have just oodles and oodles of them in a box, and instead of you cutting pipe, coping it, grinding it, fitting it, getting it just right, you can just order it online. It pops up.
Shows up and it's ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yeah, there you go. So that's how it fits on there. So you just
nice, perfect fit.
Yeah, that way saves you all the work. Well, here's the pins. You talk about the magnets.
Right. Oh.
So these are pins, and we've got the website set up. It's kind of it's set up for people that don't really know what they're looking for. Like I could call this, Metrofac 630 pin, and people wouldn't know
Not
what
a
it
clue.
is.
Yeah.
But if I say that this is a pin for a sealed relay holder, then people know what it is. So on the website, under whatever connector it is you're looking for, there's a drop down, and you can get the connector with the connector kit with the bags and pins and seals and everything, or you can just buy pins for that connector. So it's really easy. It's
user friendly. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You don't gotta mess with it. So
right.
There's that. Obviously, we're not done in here. This is gonna not be for pins. This is gonna be for batteries and stuff. But
yeah, this is quite an early look into the Monkey Fab operation right now.
So there's a bathroom there, a closet there for the air compressor and stuff. This is one office. There's another office.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'll be here. And then upstairs is where all the magic happens.
Okay, so upstairs.
Yeah, this is where we keep the majority of the stuff. Well, you can kind of see now, we're up here, you can see all the hose and then the silicone on that bracket and stuff.
Hundreds of feet of PTFE hose, right?
PTFE, standard AM braided, and push lock. So we got everything. Push lock we only carry from 6 to 12. So 6, 8, 10, and 12. I don't know anybody that uses number 4 push lock. That's like, so we don't even stock it. But this is all the electrical stuff. So these are all labeled with, all the various things and harnesses that we build, like so little sub harnesses. We got split loom, expandable loom. This is a lot of the tools and crimpers that you would use. And then this is all Deutsch connectors here. It's all weather connectors. There's 100-foot rolls if you got a shop. Those are 100-foot rolls of heat shrink. We have that from 3/32 all the way up to 1 inch, and it is dual wall epoxy heat shrink. So yeah, got all that. This is all back stock in the tops of what's in the bins, obviously.
Yeah.
Ring terminals, parallel splices. So this is like, I don't know, I could be weird, I don't know. So these are non-insulated butt connectors. Those insulated butt connectors that are like red, blue, yellow, they don't belong on cars. I know people do that, but don't do that. It's not what they're for. You can use these. I personally don't even use these. I use parallel splices. So the difference is obviously the length, right? So on this, you got a contact here and a contact here, and it's smashed down, right? On this, the wires actually overlay one another, and you smash them together. So it's a much smaller joint under your heat shrink, and that's just my preference. But I always see
it kind of looks like it'd be a little more secure as well.
Yeah, because it's overlaying. The wire's contacting the wire as opposed to just the body.
Right. So
we put those together in kits. The little orange thing over there, we'll put all the ring terminals that we have and sell it as a kit. All kinds of Aegis products. Like, do you have a big breaker on your car, like a disconnect?
Yeah.
You do?
Yep.
Yeah, so we got those in 100 amps, 150 amps, 175, 200 amps. Just all kinds of stuff depending on what you want. You got a fan and a fuel pump?
I do.
2 separate relays?
Separate, yes.
So this is cool. I don't know if have you ever seen this?
No.
So it's a single feed, and it's a dual output 80 amps on each post, and then you put your Molex connector, this goes in here, and this is your signal to trigger whichever relay you want to trigger. So you can run one unit for your fans and fuel pumps, or compressor fan and coolant fan or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff.
That's pretty trick, yeah.
Yeah. Then we got that other stuff, you know, like you see those people in the emergencies where they got to have those solder shrink tubes,
Oh, right.
the butt connectors. Like you rip the connector off your trailer because you know, emergency stuff.
Right.
Deutsch connectors, weather pack connectors.
Oh yeah, these are like a big full Deutsch connector kit.
Yeah, this is what they come with. So this will come with everything you need to use Deutsch connectors. You get the crimping tool, the pinning tools, all the connectors, all the pins. This is kind of like more of the higher end stuff, but they're really nice. If you ever use closed barrel pins, you'll never use open barrel pins again. Welding supplies, this is where we process the orders. I pack everything up here. We weigh all the packages, and then this is all fabrication stuff. So
okay, so because then I eyeballed this already. He's got some titanium stuff here.
right,
I like, because then you're like, man, how do you get a hold of this stuff? And they have some titanium.
yeah. We don't work with too many people. So we have everything in stock, and we don't work with many vendors because, as you probably know, most people don't have it. Like, it's on back order. They don't tell you, a week later, you're like, hey, where's my stuff? And they're like, oh, sorry, it's on back order. Well, we do work with Maven, and as you can see, we do not drop ship Maven. We actually keep all the Maven mounts in stock. Again, because if you order it, we want to be able to ship it to you. But I don't know, have you seen Maven mounts?
No, I haven't.
So it's a turbo mount. They're spaced differently for different size turbos depending on the threads, but so this is your drain for your turbo, and then you weld.
Oh, I recognize that. Yeah.
So we have all their products. We keep them with us, and this is our own stuff. So those copes that you were talking about earlier, this is what it looks like after it's welded.
Yeah, you have some prefabricated little turbo piping already.
Because this is a pain in the butt to make, right? So instead of somebody who's maybe not very skilled spending hours doing it, they can just purchase it.
Or risk, damaging something they just bought the pieces for.
Yeah, and that bead roller, have you ever used a bead roller?
Yeah.
So 4-inch. So trying to roll a bead really, really sucks. And so we came up with these. Is actually Hector that came up with these. So you just weld just a couple of welds like on the inside there, and then you got a perfectly machined bead for your intercooler piping or whatever. And so again, saving you money. Aesthetically, it looks better in my opinion.
Right.
It didn't stop there. We went ahead and did the intercooler stubs too. So if you make intercoolers and you don't want to weld on a piece of pipe and bead roll it, you can just weld this on, and now you got a perfectly machined
perfect little outlet. Yeah, for your intercooler.
Yeah.
That's extreme. I can see how convenient that could be.
Yeah.
And then also, before you wrap this up, like these lips right here. Let me see. Yeah, like the lips like there are nice, and it's gonna bite down on that whatever coupler you clamp onto it. Yeah.
So these are the Easy Fab rings. This is a 2.5 inch. So if you are welding and you ever have realized that you need another hand, that's where something like this would come in, because you can actually, that's 2.25. But you put another piece of pipe on here, and then this is actually your filler rod. So that sticks up 3/16 of an inch, and then you just weld over the top of that and melt it in. And because it goes inside the pipe there's no contamination, so you don't have to back purge.
That's pretty cool.
So, and it works great for just fitting stuff up, because it'll hold it.
It'll hold it in place.
Piece. Yeah.
Because there's a little slit in there, so it's kind of got a little bit of a spring loaded to it. So it would hold it. It would kind of hold it in place.
So you can only get those here. Nobody else makes these.
Exclusive.
Yep.
So we got more fittings. I know I've actually used these guys over here, these reducers.
Yeah, these are so from 5 to 4, 4 to 3, and 2 to 3, and their overall length is 2 inches, and then they're marked. So these are every 1/4 inch in diameter. So this is a 3 to 4, and so this is 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, and then 4 inch. So they're pre-marked to fit pipe.
It's nice, simple. And then we got this is V-band.
Yeah, those are titanium.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So those are the titanium V-bands, and then these are all the stainless V-bands. Like I said, 5-inch all the way down to 2-inch. One of the tricks that's kind of cool is, like, especially if you're new to fabrication or welding, you'll get V-bands, and they'll leak, right? Because chances are you were staying in one spot too long, or it got a little heated and you warped the flange ever so slightly. So I don't know anybody else that makes these, but we got these rings.
Nice little copper crush ring, I guess.
Yeah. So you anneal it. You just anneal it with the torch, like a little propane torch. And you can see it sits up just ever so slightly, and when you anneal it, it'll smash down.
And that way you get that perfect fit, perfect seal.
Yeah.
That's pretty handy to know.
Well,
there's a lot of people who probably don't know that either.
Yeah, well, we're as car people, like, we run into our own problems, right? And then we're like, well, how can we make this better? Because if it happened to us, surely it's happened to at least one other person.
That's right.
Maybe nobody else will admit it, but
yeah, that's right. I know I've messed up my fair share of VB.
Yeah. Oh, I have warped some stuff to beyond recognition. Like, it happens. Billet flanges. These are T6 flanges in 2 1/4 and 2 1/2, and then you got those are, what do they call those? The tall and the short, and then these are, the billet single inlets, and then they come in T4 also. We got T4 and 3-inch and 2 1/2s. We are low on V-bands right now. I mean, I know it doesn't look like we're low on V-bands, but we actually have hundreds more on the way of complete assemblies. Right now I'm having to put them together. So this is where all the complete assemblies go. It's all aluminum on the top. We only carry 2 1/2 to 4-inch in aluminum. Pie cuts. I personally hate pie cuts, but sometimes they're useful. So these are 2-inch from 2-inch all the way to 5-inch. Super tight radius for stuff.
Yeah.
Marmon flanges, again, stainless, aluminum, titanium. These are the VS Racing 7875 exhaust flanges, wastegate flanges, V-band reducer flanges. So, and we just switched. We quit selling the 4 to 3s, and we're going to get those back. So.
Okay.
3 to 2 1/4, 3 to 2 1/2, and then I guess now it's the rest of this is just fittings and stuff. All kinds of fittings. I mean, whatever you want.
Yeah. So we were actually just over here. So we were getting things for like bleeder valves for radiator, but there's also AN lines. You have the ends. You have the unions. You have 90s, things like that. So.
Yeah, push lock. Like I said, push lock we don't sell a lot of. I'll probably add the 120s and 180s. Right now it's only straights, 45s and 90s, the most common stuff. But this is where all that is, and then all of these crates below are the back stock of what goes in the bins. And you guys got some of these weld-on barb fittings.
That's right. And you have them available for aluminum and stainless, right?
We have the barbs for aluminum only.
Okay.
We have like ORB bungs in aluminum, and then just the standard AN bungs in stainless.
Gotcha.
We never kept any mild steel stuff because it rusts. We're in Texas and the humidity is stupid here. So
plus, if you're getting this involved, typically you're going to go with aluminum or stainless.
Yeah, and people don't know you can weld. Well, I guess some people know, but you can actually weld stainless to mild steel.
Yes.
If you're TIG welding, there's a certain rod, a 308 rod, and you can do that. Because there's a misconception that you can't do that, but you can do that.
You can weld mild steel. Yes, there.
Stainless.
There is a thing called dissimilar metallurgy welds.
Right.
So yeah.
But yeah, that's about it, man. We're always here to help people out. There's like you were talking about that V-band that you needed. There's a couple other local
At
guys.
a moment's notice, I had one same night.
Yeah. I used to keep stuff in my car because, like, when I'd go around or whatever, people would be like, "Oh, do you have this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, Yeah. Well, do you have it? Like, do you have it? Have it? Yeah, like literally, it's in my car. Like,
nice. And that's service. The service you can't get in many places.
yeah, yeah.
So this is Monkey Fab. I hope this gets you guys a little bit more familiar with what they have to offer. It definitely, you know, I've been comfortable. You know, I've unfortunately when I had built my car, I didn't quite know Monkey Fab at the time, but ever since I have the in fittings, the exhaust components like the V bands that I had, several things. It makes it simple. The website's user friendly. They have those technical descriptions of what everything is, and they also have kind of for the enthusiast or the amateur enthusiast, where if you kind of need kind of a small description of exactly what it might be going for or what you might need it for, they also have some simple descriptions like that. And then for all the in-betweens and other questions that you may have, if you go to their YouTube channel, they have tons of tutorials of how they build just about everything they sell. And that's a good thing because there's someone there to explain it and know better than the people who sell it, but not only sell it, but actually use it themselves. So here at Monkey Fab, they have solutions for just about every problem you can run into when it comes with the electrical, your plumbing, and your turbo stuff, and then soon to be expanding to more. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that the PTFE line I told you about, the crimp stuff.
Right.
People
Where's
don't
that
even know
little
about
piece?
that yet.
Let's PTFE. If you know, it doesn't really bend that well. Look at this. You could tighter than a golf ball radius. You can bend that PTFE line. So no more working with stiff hose.
Yep.
And buying, 50 different 90-degree angles so that you can route it in your car. They sell this PTFE that's quite flexible, doesn't kink. It'll hold a decent amount of pressure, and
You don't have to worry. So we only make this with spec to your order, right? So it's going to come pre-made, and you don't have to worry about the orientation of the ends.
right, because if you get these crimped, you had to worry about like, okay, this has got to be at 12 o'clock while the other side's got to be
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock. No, they swivel.
Yep. So that was one of the only ways that we were going to offer this, is to take that out of the equation, because I just saw there being some conflict there between what is ordered and what is received. So this alleviates all that. Like I said,
right.
solving problems.
So you can go to Monkey Fab Garage,
Garage.com.
monkeyfabgarage.com. There it is, actually.
Yep.
Goofball. And so take a look at the website. They have a lot to offer, and something else, their quality is top notch. That's real high up on their priority list. So when you buy something, it works, and it's of good quality. I know from personal experience, I damn near had to cut the hose end off because it wouldn't let go from the barb that I bought from these guys. So you guys can check them out on the website. I know you guys will probably see more of them because we'll be having some parts ordered from them. We might do a couple of install videos for the Mustang. And if you like the video, leave it a like, comment down below. If you have questions, Jacob here is super responsive for if you need or I think Mike's also on the Instagram, so
Yep.
you can comment, you can message them, you can call them right on up, and you can talk through your issues with them.
Yeah, we actually answer the phone.
That's right. That's a real
We'll
person.
call you back. Like there's no call center here.
Now they're not a therapist, but they can definitely work you through your solution.
There's never been a guy called about a part who didn't tell me about his car.
That's right. So, all right, guys. If you like the video, like it down below, leave a comment, and if you're new here, why don't you think about subscribing, and there will be more of this to come.